Don't forget that thumbs up. Try not to lose your lunch. We're going to listen to some more Shedeur haters.
Anyway, I think there's nothing wrong with always drafting a day three quarterback just in case. Yeah. But and the Browns have shown they're okay drafting multiple quarterbacks in one class, and maybe that's something that we see on day three here even. Yeah. What is your?
These fools are talking about drafting more than one quarterback, not just one, but more than one. They shouldn't even draft one. They should go all wide receiver, offensive line, defensive tackle, line, and or linebacker. Best available on defense, wide receiver, and offensive tackle for offense. It should be a very heavy offensive draft, as in 80%. But we're going to talk about the politics going on here. They've plucked this jackass out of apparently a Klan meeting, possibly. By the way he's talking, let's go.
Thoughts on right now on Shedeur Sanders' future? So, I'm with you. I don't know if it's going to be a long-term situation. And the issues with Shedeur, and I thought he was worst case going to be a top 50 pick, so I'm not going to make up a story and said that I knew he was going to.
Notice in this graphic here, they didn't put up wins and losses. Very slick. Okay, I want you all to look at his body language too. When he starts talking, I'm going to go back just a little bit. Pardon me. He does a sigh and a really chump-like breath.
Give him that grace. But day three quarterbacks, you're certainly taking a flyer anyway. I think there's nothing wrong with always drafting a day three quarterback just in case. Yeah. But and the Browns have shown they're okay drafting multiple quarterbacks in one class, and maybe that's something that we see on day three here even. Yeah. What is your thoughts on right now on Shedeur Sanders' future? So, I'm with.
So, they're so slick. At least they want to be. They wish they were slick. Let's go.
I don't know if it's going to be a long-term situation. And the issues with Shedeur, and I thought he was worst case going to be a top 50 pick, so I'm not going to make up a story and said that I knew he was going to fall as far as he did. But the issue with Shedeur, and we saw this early on in his time in Cleveland, he did get better, but he doesn't play on time. And then when the first read isn't there, he's running for his life out of clean pockets, doesn't have the best arm. And look, here's what I heard.
Whoa. He's running for his life, which means someone is chasing him out of clean pockets. No, he was running he was running for his life because he was behind a garbage offensive line that could not block, that got him knocked in the dirt time and time again. He is good at extending the plays. He is good at improvising. As a matter of fact, next to his accuracy, I believe that improvisation is his best asset. He is absolutely the long-term answer. But we're going to keep going. I'm going to go back just a tad.
In this time in Cleveland, he did get better, but he doesn't play on time. And then when the first read isn't there, he's running for his life out of clean pockets, doesn't have the best.
The first read wasn't there because no one can get open, and he couldn't get to the first read because the offensive line couldn't get to the first blocking assignment. He plays with excellent timing. What are you talking about? He's always on time. But he heard. Don't forget, he heard. Let's go.
Arm. And look, here's what I heard. I heard that he could have worked hard.
Go back a little bit.
So, I'm with you. I don't know if it's going to be a long-term situation. And the issues with Shedeur, and I thought he was worst case going to be a top 50 pick, so I'm not going to make up a story and said that I knew he was going to fall as far as he did. But the issue with Shedeur, and we saw this early on in his time in Cleveland, he did get better, but he doesn't play on time. And then when the first read isn't there, he's running for his life out of clean pockets, doesn't have the best arm. And look, here's what I heard. I heard that he could have worked harder in preparation. Now, maybe that isn't true, but that's what I heard, and it appeared to be the case when you watched him play.
That did not appear to be the case. He appeared to be the best quarterback on the roster. He appeared to win 3 games out of 7, which is 50%. He appeared to be a number 2 draft pick that was purposely sunken to number 5. Yes, I do believe that there is a conspiracy to keep this guy down because he is Deion Sanders' son. Now, he's starting with these mysterious sources again. We all know there was Kevin Stefanski and his crew. He's starting with these mysterious sources. I heard. I don't know if that's true. Clean it up. Clean it up. I heard. You ain't heard nothing. But it's a good thing that we have the season coming up, because I believe these dudes will be eating crow. We're going to keep going.
So I think that if he's willing to refocus and take this seriously as a very important job that he has, there's an opportunity for him to have success. But he is not going to be a traits guy that steps off the bus and can do something. He can't do Josh Allen things, for example.
Last time we saw Josh Allen, not only did he get cooked by Shedeur, but he was crying and bawling in the playoffs because he stunk up the joint with 4 interceptions. They leave that part out about Josh. Now, they sat up here and trashed Shedeur, who has won just as many Super Bowls as Josh Allen has, and he's only played for 7 games in his first rookie season. Let that sink in. A guy that has not played a full season, who was a rookie last year, won 3 out of his 7 starts, should have been 5, because there were some games where the coach screwed it up. They could have beaten the Buffalo Bills, amongst other teams that they could have won. You had bad special teams. You had bad defensive play in some games. And he beat 2 division rivals in the Bengals and in the Steelers. But they want us to believe that they are real NFL analysts and not a bunch of suspected white supremacist haters. Let's keep going.
Can't do Lamar Jackson things. So he has to be perfect essentially every time he drops back with the ball.
And how many Super Bowls has Lamar Jackson won? Just saying.
And there's a lot that goes into that. Offensive line, playmakers, a wide receiver. We've talked about that. But I think it's going to be a tough stretch, because it's a tough stretch for every single quarterback drafted in the first round to have success in the NFL, unless you land in Kansas City, for example.
Ryan, we talked about 6. Let's look at 24 and 30.
You had mentioned Ty Simpson in the Browns. And Ty Simpson, the quarterback from Alabama, who basically was the starter there for 1 year, did really well for the first half of the season, got injured, and then didn't do as well. But mentioned Ty Simpson.
Yeah.
And that's a name that, as we've gotten a little closer to the draft, Andy, has not popped with the Browns, I think. ESPN has a mock draft out. They have, and it's a compilation of a bunch of their guys, including Mel Kiper and Field Yates. They have Simpson going with the first pick of the second round to the New York Jets.
I told you what Pete Prisco said.
Which makes a ton of sense. Pete said
24, first round.
to the Browns.
To the Browns, yeah.
If it's still an issue, wouldn't that make perfect sense at 24?
What's the issue?
The issue is, what's Todd Monken think? Does Todd think, Deshaun?
What is Todd Monken going to learn about his quarterbacks between now and the draft? That's my question. Enough to say we've got to draft this kid?
Possibly, yes.
Wow. And
all right, so once again, these 2 clowns right here, Bozo number 1 and 2, are making statements that they know damn well is not true. This is their hatred for Shedeur Sanders. Let's keep going with their false narrative.
He's going to break down tape like crazy.
Also, are you handing that first round pick to your head coach if you're the general manager?
No, but if you're the general manager, you haven't gotten quarterback right yet. Maybe you should listen to somebody else.
They can't prove that statement, because if you look at the numbers, meaning wins and losses, they got the quarterback right with Shedeur Sanders. Not to mention the yardage, not to mention the eye test, but we know this. At this point, they are bitter because they have been proven wrong about Shedeur Sanders, so now they have to keep on lying to make themselves feel better. And this guy, like I said, that is the face of a hater right there. I went back a little bit too far, but that's insanity. Let's go.
And barely hang on to your job. At least that's the way it looks on the outside, where on the inside, it doesn't feel that way at all.
If the Browns evaluate Simpson highly and Monken likes him, now those are 2 big ifs.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you take him?
Absolutely. You would take him.
All right. That's all about Shedeur Sanders, why wouldn't you take him? They can't say that because they know that Shedeur Sanders is a good player. But they have to throw something out, A, for their racist audience, and B, to make themselves feel better because they are seeing a budding superstar in Shedeur Sanders on the field, and he's a black guy, and he is Deion Sanders' son, which makes them uncomfortable because they hate Deion because he has everything that they don't have. The ability, the wealth, the fame, the charisma, the decency, the humanity. Let's keep going.
Jeff, we argue about a lot of things, but if you think Ty Simpson is a game changer, if you think Ty Simpson can lead your team to the promised land, then 6 is no price.
If you think he's going to be as good as Kirk Cousins in his heyday,
okay,
you might have to take him.
I'm trying not to laugh. This is almost like an SNL skit.
Okay.
Actually,
you're not filling me with.
This guy is laughing over here because he knows that this isn't serious. Okay.
Enthusiasm. I wish
No,
you could
I know,
find another
but Kirk
quarterback.
Cousins has made a lot of money and has played some pretty good football.
Yeah, but made a lot of money.
No, but he's played some pretty good football.
Okay.
That's the second part of that.
Is that what we're going for? Pretty good football, or are we going for?
Have you
great
seen
football?
the quarterback play here in Cleveland?
Oh yeah, yes I have.
Would you like some pretty good football?
I would like competitive football.
All right. So what you're seeing is they need to have negativity, I guess, to make themselves feel better as Cleveland Browns commentators. I don't know, but they need the dumpster fire energy, the dumpster fire culture. We got to get another quarterback next year. So the quarterback play was fantastic from Shedeur Sanders. He just didn't have the weapons around him. Dylan Gabriel, I think they should trade him, but I don't know what you would get for Dylan. And in Deshaun Watson, you don't know. He could bounce back. You might have a bargain basement steal in Deshaun Watson. Let's keep going.
Bar's lower. My bar is lower than pretty good football.
Well,
what I want is championship football.
Then maybe if Todd likes him, maybe competitive football is what he can give you.
I don't know, man. If you're the captain of the Titanic, you better make sure you got a pretty good orchestra.
There's a
that can
new
play
captain, and he has a better map of where the glaciers are hiding.
So, okay, well, he has.
All right, and there we go with the doom and gloom and the negativity. It's not the Titanic. There's no glaciers hiding. This is a newly constructed ship that's going to be sailing hopefully on smooth waters.
Man, you're optimistic. You're pumped up. This is your chance, Andy. You've waited your entire career for it. You spent 7 or 8 years at Eastern Michigan hoping to one day be a head coach in the NFL.
I'm going to be honest with you, Jeff. I'm surprised you haven't said, well, why hasn't this guy been hired before? Why doesn't anybody else like him as head coach?
Why didn't anybody hire Bruce Arians?
I agree.
Because they screwed up.
We wanted Bruce Arians. So do you think we got Bruce Arians? Is that what you think?
I don't know.
I hope you're right if you think that.
And once again, worshiping players and coaches from other teams. Kirk Cousins and Bruce Arians. No, we have Monken and we have Shedeur Sanders.
I could see you saying, the league didn't want him to be a head coach for years.
That's all right. The league doesn't want a lot of guys to be a head coach, and they can be successful. They can not be successful.
But you're like really good at saying, well, they liked him so much they passed on him because they didn't draft him, or they liked him so much.
Why do I have such a handle on the language? I get that out quickly.
You say that all. You say stuff like that. Those are Phelps-isms. Well, they didn't like him so much they drafted him in the 5th round. Every team passed on him 5 times.
It seems to me that you follow a similar little vein of conversation there.
But no, I've just absorbed this through osmosis, like the Wonder Twins, shape of water, form of what?
If Monken likes Simpson.
Demon was one of them. I always thought osmosis was more falling asleep on the textbook and hoping that.
All right, we're going to stop it there. I can't take anymore. Just wanted to continue to document and to demonstrate the nonsense that is going on and surrounding Shedeur Sanders. Okay, so again, I've never seen anything like this in my entire football watching life, which has been 4+ decades. And to be a fan, allegedly, of a team and then root against that team being good so you can have a reason to have pity parties like this one and to be depressed. And this is exactly why Dion didn't want Shedeur coming to the Browns. Now, the Browns have a winner in town. Whether or not he'll stay, I doubt it, because I think after his contract is up, he'll be going to a different team because of clowns and bozos like this. You all let me know what you think. Leave your comments in the box.